It's February 23rd, 2022. Time is approximately 7:03 p.m. Call the Berlin Water Control meeting to order. I don't see any audience of citizens. You want to go through the approval of minutes and everything else, or you want to go to the executive session?
Is there anything off for you? Do you want us to go to executive?
Whatever your pleasure is, just,
I'll give you
it doesn't look like you have a very long agenda, so.
Okay. We'll go through the agenda.
Okay, there's no audience of citizens. Anybody look over the minutes and see if there's any mistakes or anything? I didn't see anything.
I can't say anything unless it happens. Just review the document.
All right.
We'll approve it.
Right. Everybody agree?
Aye.
Everybody agrees. New business, Woodlawn Passive Recreation.
Okay, this item occurred. Jim Mahoney basically is asked, after Economic Development wants to utilize the area of the old Woodlawn well. The old Woodlawn well is located, of course, by the Woodlawn tank. Took a picture of it, finally got it out of the woods. We were able to find it for a long time. We couldn't find it because it was covered with material. It's still an active well, active in the sense that it's got a registration and a permit from the deed, but it hasn't been used since day one. It was drilled back in 1966. This particular parcel of property is around 66 acres. Right now it has a tank on it, 2 million gallon tank. It's basically empty. It has a pumping station with 5 pumps and a generator that basically are not operable at this point in time. So Mr. Mahoney, when he came to me, basically was looking at some kind of a passive recreation. So they had hired a company, FHI, and FHI did a nice analysis and indicated that this parcel would be an excellent location for a passive recreation facility, so that there'd be a walking trail. And there's a few things that have to be still ironed out. It has been approved by the Conservation Commission. It's on the agenda for the next town council meeting next Tuesday. In essence, what it does is set up a nice trail around a pond. This is the old Sportsman Club. It was purchased back in 1966. Town/Berlin Water Control, because Berlin Water Control was created in 66. So I'm not exactly sure how the money was separated, but since its classification is Class 1 property, according to the National Department of Public Health, and that well, though we don't want to use it now because it does have some contaminant that will require some major treatment, we don't want to give it up, obviously. And it's 700,000 gallons per day. We pumped it back in 2004 for 14 days, and that's what the average capacity was.
What was that? Average flow?
Well, average capacity, because it wasn't in line, it was just being tested at the
Right,
time.
free flow.
Yeah, 14 days it was pumped. So the question comes up is, we would like to have this as a recreational trail, and so we need a vote from the council, from the commission, to go forward. Now, what I need to do when I get that vote would be then make an application to the Connecticut Department of Public Health and ask them to approve it, because this would be considered what they call a change of use. But I think it would be consistent with the long usage of the well protective measures that would be taken to ensure that there's no contamination. For instance, there's not going to be any pesticide, herbicide treatment in that area. There's not going to be any refueling of vehicles or so forth, anything that may form a contamination to the groundwater. I would recommend that we approve it and go forward to it.
Okay. Do we have to have a motion or?
Your motion and approval, vote.
Okay, so we want to make a motion for a vote?
I'll make a motion for a vote. I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you. The next item, 4.2, is Deming Ridge. Deming Ridge is another additional subdivision, housing complex actually, off of Deming Road. It takes a small curve just before you go up towards Rocky Hill on Deming Road. We have a developer's permit agreement. There's a couple things missing from it. We need the commission's approval to go forward with it. And also there's a little bit of a technical glitch. They are bringing up the line from about across the street from Bacon Lane to Deming Ridge, to Deming Road, up almost to the brook on the turn going over to Rocky Hill, which is 103 feet beyond their driveway. And so they're bringing it over by the Eversource property to 190 feet and another 103 feet. So they're putting in the main, so we're not charging them for the assessment. However, the sewer there's a little bit sewer line there. We are charging them for the sewer assessment and the connection fees. It's going to be 12 buildings, 11 actually with 8 units each, and the 12th building is going to be sort of a clubhouse type of arrangement. So we're asking for two things here. One, for your approval to go forward with the DPA, so we can put that in that portion. And the second portion of that is to actually allow them for a smaller frontage fee, because the current frontage fee would carry across and up towards the old cemetery that's on the bridge, which is well beyond what their service area. We don't need it to go that far because there's no usage in that area. So it would kind of be a waste of money and time to ask them to go beyond that for water service line. So I'm asking for your approval on that.
That's to amend
That's two things, is to allow for the DPA to be approved, co-signed by Commissioner LaRoche from back. And the second thing is to allow them to utilize the 490 feet rather than the additional frontage fee.
We have a motion to approve that project.
the motion to approve.
Motion's made, seconded, everybody vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, carries. Second part is to allow for a smaller frontage fee.
4.3 Deming Road pump station. I quickly mention a couple items here. We have a new cost that just came in the other day. The new cost was from 2.4 to 3.2 million. It's a huge jump. Two significant changes have occurred. They're basically looking at precast concrete for the upper portion of it, and also precast for the lower portion, which would be the actual pumping station. The upper portion would be the generator room plus the actual equipment for electrical equipment. The upper portion will look very similar to what we have at Rowley Street. If you recall, if you drive by there, that was also a precast unit up and down. So that was the most significant cost increase that we had. That's the additional cost of the two precast units, probably from United, and that the engineer got a good cost analysis from them. Basically, it's far more expensive than the original thought. So that's just an FYI for you.
So it went from 2.4 to 3.2.
3.2. The last 4.4 for the last 4 Wednesdays of the month of February, ASWA, the Association of State Drinking Water Administrators, which I was a member of many years ago, basically held a countrywide discussion on the new lead and copper rule. New lead and copper rule requires that every service line be identified as to what the status is and the type of material it has, regardless of the monitoring conditions. So in other words, you need to know exactly what the materials are at the service line, because an unknown will not be an acceptable result. So that some utilities are actually purchasing pothole drillers. Basically, what they're doing is drilling small circular holes in the area to identify the service types of pipe, to identify anything that may have any kind of lead, like loose connects of lead pipe or lead connections. The whole theory is to get all the lead out. And primary reason for this is that EPA's changed the rules and requirements of the regional lead comparable because of Flint, Michigan. As a result of the Flint, Michigan conditions, they basically gone the other way, and they're requiring all elimination of lead into the lead service lines. So that I actually attended all 4 of those meetings that they had. That's just an FYI.
When did they end putting in lead piping?
Excuse me?
When did they end?
1927 in this area, roughly, though a few cities like Chicago went quite a bit later, into the 50s. There are several areas of lead goosenecks, so that's the other problem. The goosenecks are connected to the wind lines, typically. That's where the problem is as well. The next item is leak detection. Last week we had the former New York leak detection program, which is now GPRS, which has been bought over by a new company. They came over and did the leak detection for the entire week, and we fared pretty well. It cost us about $9,500 to do. They determined 4 major leaks, anywhere from 5,000 gallons per day to 20,000 gallons per day, which was a surprise to me as well. That savings alone would bring us up to about $81,000 a year in savings, so well worth the $9,000. Additionally, there were hydrant leaks, about 3 hydrant leaks, not quite as extensive, probably a savings of around $1,300, but nonetheless, that should be corrected with smaller leaks. So we'll be writing to those service. And funny or odd, I guess is the best way to put it. All the leaks are service line leaks. We have 4 or 5 houses, and the 2 of them are on Savage Hill. And one of them is 490, the new one from Weber.
Is it same contractor putting in the?
No, these are different locations, different contractors, and no commonality that I see. So that was well worth it. EP, Environmental Partners, who was also brought over by a new company, Apex, is going to be connected to all these other companies. But nonetheless, they were doing some flow monitoring for Cromwell, and they kind of indicated to us that we could get a better deal if we do it at the same time Cromwell does, so Cromwell Fire District. So they went ahead and did it. Nothing terribly unusual. Most of our hydrants are very good. What they did do is refortify the conditions that are problematic, and that's the area of East Berlin, which we all knew was a problem area. Wilcox Avenue turned out to be the worst condition. The flow capacity there was not acceptable. All the others were just marginally acceptable in Berlin, East Berlin, Berlin Street and Main Street. All the others were far more better, and actually all the results were satisfactory here. So this just highlighted the fact that we still need to do major work in East Berlin. 4.7. We hired WMC, Wendell McDonald Costello. As you recall, I think I mentioned this several times last year. Kensington Road, off of Elton Road, going on into the western portion, Kensington Road. Several homeowners approached me and asked me that they would like to see our water line extended. The rationale being that their water quality is extremely poor. They asked them to send in some water quality data, and they showed that as an example, that the sulfates were over 1,000. Standards for sulfates is 500. And the hardness components are well over 1,000. There's no technical standard for hardness, but this Belgian line was normally acceptable. These poor folks have had, some of them have had extensive treatment requirements, anion exchange, as well as probably additionally iron and manganese problems, which require a softening device plus on top of that carbon. So they have extensive. They're very interested, so we hired WMC to give us a cost analysis of what a main expansion would be and how the assessment would be laid out. So they just got the nod last week to go forward with that, so we're hoping within a month and a half or so we can get some results. I've already talked to the Department of Public Health. They've indicated to me that they had some actions previously where they've gotten some assistance to private well home owners And I'd like to be able to get a low interest loan from the state to augment the additional cost that comes from those homeowners. So we need to get at the same time.
Isn't that one point we studied for these people already?
I don't, well, we sent out a survey. The survey reply was very minimal. We didn't get many replies. A handful that did reply all indicated that they would like it, but we weren't able to tell them what the cost assessments was going to be.
This Garcia's property up there too. Even one.
CRC, yes, CRC has 7 lots up there, and he would potentially be in that same area. 4.8, Manifest District, this came up last minute just before I finished the agenda. Art Simonian, Executive Director from the Manifest District, will be on our March agenda. I think it's March 23rd, that's correct?
22nd.
22nd, so he had indicated that he and John Dunham, which had approached us last year to also speak to us about the billing. I did quick analysis. I don't know if it's settled in on it, but it's going to be about $200,000 more than last year. It's going to be roughly $2.3 million for the bill for that asset. That would be for collectively,
The Berlin share.
Berlin share, yeah. I made a quick calculation that the Kensington share would be about 1.4 million, so that's roughly what it would be right now. Last item is the preserve. Now, I need a vote here because we left this originally that we were going to take the position of fighting the situation in terms of taking the preserve and basically going to the local meaning that we should service this because our service area. However, I'm the attorney that not will represent the town and us, sent a letter to Kensington and to the developer that we are not giving up our exclusive service area, but allowing them to go forward and serve that water and sewer for the preserve. So this would require a vote to basically to approve, go forward with that position.
Make a motion that we, under the circumstances that we don't relinquish our rights to the name, that they could.
Exclusive service area.
Exclusive service area.
The service area, we exist in the property up there by.
It's also shuttle metal, correct?
No,
Second to that?
wait for a second.
I'll second it.
All right, voting on the exclusive service area on the Kensington Fire for a few areas, hookups. All in favor? Aye. Guys got it.
Okay, thank you.
4.9.
4.9. Old business, I'll go right into this real quickly. With Deming Road Pump Station, we're still floundering with NBC. They basically have rejected some of our design cost reimbursements. We're still trying to deal with that issue. The MOU has been adjusted slightly to compensate for the issue of what do you call it, the recalibration. No. Recalculating actually the cost because there's a question about the percentage of flow. We're still waiting for some additional detail from them on the percent of flow. They have another 5 or 6 months, so we're trying to look at that and see. Talk to Kevin Delaney from our finance director. And basically, he's making one more look at it because now the cost has shot up from 2.4 to 3.2, and there's a question about how we want to fund it because we would be funding it, and NBC would be paying us for that. It was originally 60. We think it's closer to 75. So we're still waiting for some additional detail from the monitoring requirements. And I was just told this morning that Michael Hearn told me that that NBC told him that both meters from Rowley Street and Public Road have been changed. put brand new meters in there. I don't know what that means. So that was 5.1. Developers agreement, Denning Road Business Park. Attorney Sullivan called me the other day and indicated to me that, I'm not really sure exactly, it indicated to me it wasn't signed, and I indicated to them that as far as we were concerned, all the payments have been made. He said he's going to put it in a separate letter. I already wrote it in the DPA, so if he wants to put it in a separate letter, that's not a problem with me. All that needs to be done is to be signed by Mr. Munson, who's the developer, and then co-signed by our commissioner, who's the developer. So I'm just waiting for their to take action. In BT 2008, this is the Daddio property off the Berlin Turnpike. Right now, currently, I sent Mr. Daddio a letter last week, basically outlining in 3 phases what the cost would be for connections for water and sewer hookup. Phase 1, of course, is the gas station. He's already made a connection to our sewer manhole. I'm not aware that he's made any water connections yet, so we'll be looking at for that first phase payment for that. Additionally, I just heard from the health department this morning that we're pretty close to having all the approvals necessary to go forward with the bid. So we're hopefully be able to go to bid next week. That would be for the construction of the 16-inch water line along the Berlin Turnpike from Deming Road to Woodlawn Road. So that's looking pretty good. Hopefully it'll be timing. We've had indications that the 16-inch line is problematic in order to get because it's like 25 week waiting period. So we're still hopeful this will be done by the end of the year. But we get time here for the bidding. Election of officers, I think we may want to postpone that until Bruce is actually here. Which brings us to executive session. Unless anybody has something else.
One quick question, where does Cromwell get their water? Is it all?
Cromwell gets their well water along, what do you call it, Dividend Brook. It's over by the end of the river. They have a huge well field there. They can produce up to 10 million gallons. They only actually use about 4 million. So they have quite a bit of excess water supply.
They process their water?
They chlorinate, there's no need to process beyond that because there's no requirement to filter because they're not influenced by the Connecticut River. It's one of the things that affects credit. So they are though, they are very interested in connecting with us on the Middletown. It may be a very unique condition because Middletown, Berlin, and Cromwell might be all in one point. Like Division Street, Middle Street, and Main Street, as well. That would be a perfect opportunity to buy more water at a cheaper rate, but one of the cheapest water suppliers in the area. Any other questions before we go into executive session?
We just need a motion to go into.
We have a motion.
You need a motion?
To go into
I'll make a
exec-
motion, we go into executive session.
Yeah, second.
You also need to indicate who you're inviting besides yourselves.
And indicate who you're inviting besides yourselves.
Attorney D'Onofrio, he's our town council, town attorney.
Did we get off?
Not yet, we're trying to move to executive session, and I'm getting it start recording. And if you want me,
Well, I'll invite Lisa, Vanessa, and Jim Hall.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
And right,
Are you official?
And right.
And me.
and I see 7:28.